Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanura Mardanam Devki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 56. Arjuna had asked, what are the characteristics of one who has attained Sthita Prajna state? How does he sit? How does he walk? How does he talk? He didn't say, how does he smile? In other words, it's a profound topic to gain insight into the goal of life. Krishna is giving explanation, that is to say, he is giving the characteristics of one who is enlightened. Dukkeshvanudvignamana sukeshu vigata spriha vitaraga bhaya krodha statahir muni ruchyate. He who is not agitated in the midst of sorrowful conditions and who is devoid of craving in the midst of pleasant circumstances, who is free from attachment, raga, fear, bhaya, and anger, krodha. Such a sage is called a person of steady wisdom. Raga, bhaya, and krodha. These keep your mind agitated. When mind is agitated, you are not yourself. You are identified with the mind. And that happens because a reflection of you takes over of your world process. Brahman, the absolute self, reflecting in the mind, plays the role of jiva, the individual soul. And though the soul is always connected with the divine, the reflected sun is always connected with the sun. Sun cannot abandon the reflected sun, no matter what. Soul cannot be abandoned by God. That point has to go deep into the heart. Your problem is not to persuade God to like you. He is the mother of mothers. He is yearning to be united with him. His compassion is beyond imagination. Every form of love you experience and practice has come from him. That in order to lead your mind to that understanding of your relationship with your God, with the God within, that requires sadhana, integral yoga in day-to-day life. Your actions must turn into karma yoga. They should be done with such understanding that they go on purifying your heart, not creating complexes in your mind. All this is easily said, but you have to follow it with great patience. Your emotions should turn into all yearning of the heart for meeting the loved one, for grieving over the separated ones. Behind all that, there's a love of God that is the reality. That's what really you want to get. which is expressing through your heart as pain, as despair, as separation from the loved ones, as well as the positive aspect of feeling great warmth from the world, great world of affection and warmth and joyousness and friendliness. All this is because your soul is focused on God, God as the source of absolute love. A reflected sun finds its absolute fulfillment by realizing I am the sun. Nothing else. Even the rainbows say, we have come from the sun. And the clouds shimmer and they say, we are the sun. But the goal of the reflected sun is to be not the clouds, not the rainbows, not the shimmering waves, but the sun. So you have choices. A world of illuminations. It's called prayer. And God Himself, He is the Shreya. He is the goal. As long as your mind is drawn towards the illusion of the world, the idea in the world, you will find perfect peace, perfect rest, a sense of fulfilling all your desires. If you have that idea, you have been already haunted by that idea through many lives, and it will continue. And so far you have not attained absolute rest. So there is no guarantee. If you are led by your own whims, you cannot attain the highest. Just some points to understand. Challenging conditions come in your life. If you are free of attachment, rather, free of fear and free of anger, then you become the master of the situation. Situation will come and it will prove positive for you. Whether it looks at negative or positive, it doesn't matter. Wind blows over a tree and the tree shakes this way or that way. It doesn't matter which way it shakes. Roots become stronger. But if the tree were to develop some imagination and be overpowered by sentiments, that will be a different thing. The root will be shaken, or worms will get into the roots. So, anger, and we can say anger, it's a figurative term. It relates also to elation. Anger is agitation in your mind. In this particular context, with a special meaning. When you fulfill a desire, when desire is not fulfilled, mind is agitated. But when desire is fulfilled, still the mind is agitated. Thanksgiving is the example for it. Millions have enjoyed it and end up with not getting much. So, any situation that creates raga or dvesha, then you have faced this situation as a slave. When it has not created raga or attachment or dvesha, then you have faced it as a master. So it's up to you whether you want to be the master or you want to be a slave. If you become a slave, you must realize whose slave are you? The monkey on your neck. Raga dvesha, attachment, hatred. Ego with attachment, hatred is a kind of a monkey. And each time you become angry unnecessarily, meaninglessly, just because of weakness, or each time you become terribly afraid, irrationally, you are making the monkey stronger. You are allowing ego to overpower you. And ego's realities begin to dominate your mind. Ego's realities are suspicion, moha, delusion, and manifold distractions. When desires are fulfilled, one develops trishna, craving for more. When desires are not fulfilled, then one develops anger. Impressions of annoyance begin to develop in your mind. In other words, I'm talking about raga dvesha. Pleasant situations give you raga, attachment. Lot of attachment. Attachments are limiting your mind. Unpleasant situations give you dvesha. If you are advanced, pleasant situations are like soft clouds in the sky. Unpleasant situations are like the dark clouds. You are a lover of the sky and nature, it doesn't matter. You are benefited, again, from sadhana point of view. Mind has to be set with certain understanding. Pleasant situations, ask your mind, how can I utilize a pleasant situation? Fortune has smiled. Good circumstances have come. How can I best utilize this happiness that has come? You have to train yourself to be drawn to sattvic type of happiness. Happiness that enriches your mind with devotion to God. You speed up your movement towards understanding God, enshrining God in your heart, reciting your mantras, entering into meditation, exploring the realm of inner tranquility, striving for experiencing samadhi. Lots of good things to be done. But we come under the sway of raga, then all this left behind. You are simply drifting, letting your mind. I'm so happy and the world has so many wonderful things to give. Must realize I'm not criticizing anybody. But I will give you a general illusion. Not everyone gets into illusion, even though they go through all over. But general mind, the idea in them is always, you rush towards a wonderful picturesque settings. But who enjoys it? Your camera. You catch them. Catch every beautiful scene, every beautiful sight. So busy catching them, you hardly know what you are doing. These simple simple things have to be understood, and a grown-up view has to develop within you. Otherwise, everyone is like a child, just moving with whims, doing so many things but not having any enriching effect. Sarvatrana tat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratisthita. He who is without attachment in everything, and while meeting with good and evil, neither rejoices nor hates, his wisdom is established. If the same theme continues, if you are without attachment, in other words, pleasant things come and you are a witness, you are watching them. You are like the clouds have come and you are just enjoying them, welcoming them, but at the same time, not affected by them. And that's called without attachment. The idea that if you don't have attachment, you cannot enjoy, that idea is incorrect. Real enjoyment turns your mind to serenity. And serenity turns your soul to God. Defective enjoyment turns your mind towards a process of creating raga, attachment. Mind creates a concept. How happy am I now? If this object or this person has been with me longer, I will be happier and happier. That concept is kept in your unconscious. And that lingering concept of raga diminishes your willpower, diminishes your ability to face challenges in your life. So he who is without attachment in everything, while meeting with good and evil, neither rejoices nor hates, his wisdom is established. When your mind has come to that state, then deep down you are not living a life dependent on happenings. Deep down you are just melting into God. Deep down you are flowing into the ocean. Nothing else counts. But if mind is constantly agitated by good and evil, positive and negative, then you are not living at the deepest level within you. You are identified with ego. And ego's life is the life of a wave. In the midst of waves, therefore, you have no security, no rest. You may go on experiencing rest and security as a transient concept. Remember the sayings of Lord Jesus. Foxes have holes and birds have nests. But referring to himself says he doesn't have anything, any place where to lay his head on. He's a big complainer. That attitude of complaining against the world comes in you. That's paravairagya. Yada sangharte chayam kurmonganiva sarvasha indriyanindriyarthesya tasya prajna pratisthita. When he is able to withdraw his senses from the sense objects, even like a tortoise that withdraws its limbs from all sides, he is then established in wisdom. It's an important point to understand the relationship between your mind and senses. The relationship between you, your intellect, mind, and senses. You cannot experience real peace, the reality of yourself, who you are. You don't experience it. If intellect is dull, confused, if ego is dominating, and mind is not under your control, therefore always remember the Upanishadic illustration of chariot. Your senses are the horses. They should not just take the chariot according to their whim. And these horses, again, they're not of one mind. So life lived on the basis of senses is just like a chariot driven by 5 or 6 drunk horses. Some scriptures dramatize it. Horses that have been stung with scorpions. Then the next problem, the reins that pull the horses. If the reins are not well fashioned, if you are not able to control the horses, the reins are the mind. Mind is the pulls the horses, gears them to a certain direction. If the mind itself is not well disciplined, that means ropes are there, but they are not controlling the horses. They have been misplaced. Instead of putting it on the neck, then put it into a leg or somewhere. The ropes are not well planned. And the third thing, the driver of the chariot, intellect. If intellect is constantly receiving texting messages from the ego, and the soul is being led in that chariot, and that poor soul has very little possibility of gaining anything substantial. Keeping that vision in view, it becomes the goal of every individual to straighten the chariot. And that's done by integral yoga. How to do your duties well. That keeps your senses in a right gear. Keep the senses functioning in a right way. How to keep your mind focused on the work you do. And how to keep your intellect clear. What you are expecting out of all that you are doing. If it is clear, your expectation has 2 aspects. You want the project to succeed, but a higher level, ultimately the project is under divine in the world. The world is not under your control. Therefore, the joy of having done your duty, no matter how it has expressed in the world, no matter whatever might have been the fruits of karma, inwardly you have performed your duty. Therefore, you look at the Divine Mother, she smiles, you smile. Look at God, and God is smiling with you. Even though outwardly things have not worked out the way ego might have planned. So, just like in a good setup of a driving, horses are well controlled by the reins, and the chariot driver controls the horses and the reins, and the driver is doing exactly what the soul needs. In simple way, your senses are to be under the control of mind. Mind must follow the dictates of reason. And the reason should not be distracted by your ego. Higher than reason is the divine will. So your reasoning must follow in harmony with God's will. So ultimately, the highest in your chariot mechanism is God Himself. Vision that you are being driven by God. Then you have what become sthita prajna. Let the chariot move. And all practical realities, let them continue. Therefore, let the sage walk, let him run, let him stand up, let him speak out. How does he sit? How does he walk? Etc. All hows are only, they are glorifications of the sage. So far, just to sum up, points that have been highlighted. What are the characteristics of a sage? First, he should not be dominated by desires. Renunciation of desires. Because every desire points to an attainment that is in the world of time and space. And every attainment is transient. Next point, therefore, attaining perfect contentment in being resigned to God. The Godward movement is the most fulfilling and ultimately being merged in God. Nitya Sripti, eternal fulfillment. In order to attain that, maintaining equanimity, balance of mind in pleasant situations and unpleasant situations, in prosperity, adversity, gain and loss. Keeping the mind free of three great malas, impurities. Craving, the mind is constantly longing. That longing habit, it longs but not longing. What is long in English? Cloves. I'm making a joke. Cloves are called longs in Hindi language. You hold on to longs, but not hold on to longings. Next point, anasakti. That should be your mantra. Don't get glued. Keep off all glue. If you are using your hand to cut bananas, platanos, always apply oil in your hands. It's a physical illustration. In the same way, allow the oil of devotion to be besmeared over your mind. And that should be, again, a project, not in one day's project, day by day. How can you shift your mind towards God again and again in different ways? By japa, by studying scriptures, by singing kirtans, by talking about God and His glory to your children and others, creating satsanga atmosphere. All that is now allowing and oiling over your mind. When mind is well oiled, different things you handle day by day, they will not stick to you. If it is not well greased, then things begin to stick. And it takes for you to wipe those sticks. It takes a long time. It's like those kiddies. They have sticks in their paw and they go on wiping it again and again. It takes a long time. Samadrishti, another point. Equal vision. No matter how things are happening, deep down nothing has changed. No matter how things happen on the earth, the light of the sun undergoes so many changes. But it has nothing to do with the sun. Sun remains where it is, unaffected. Much in the same manner, the I am in you, aham brahmasmi, that I am is unshaken. That I am in you is the only I am, non-dual, absolute. And that's to be realized. Again, I reiterate certain point. Hanuman was asked by Rama, how am I related to? And he says, from the body point of view, I am a slave, you are the master. That's the first step towards that spiritual attainment. To view your body as an instrument of God. It doesn't require much of imagination, because that's just a rational fact. Because you don't know anything about your body unless you read some medical science. Then again, you don't know much. The entire body has been fashioned by divine intelligence. Nothing do you know of. When you sleep, you don't know how things are happening. Some strange nurse has gone into your unconscious, changing all your files. So to the extent I am the body, enjoy it. See your body and see how the wondrous role it plays. But all that happens through your body is a leela, kind of a sport. Because all that is happening day by day, one day they will all become memories. And memories are again, they become outdated. They're thrown away. Deha buddhya tu dasoham. Jiva buddhya tvadanshaka. From the point of view of the soul, I am a ray. Literally, it means I am a part. I am a fragment, and God is the whole. Put it in a more understandable way. I am a ray. God is like the sun. Therefore, no matter how things are, you have amazing potential. Do not let your mind succumb to absolute despair, because you are not being handled by ego. handled by God. And that point has to be learned through satsanga. From people around you, that point is ignored. The more you talk to people, the more they point out to the practical reality. And you are given the idea that things are unalterable. You are facing a situation that no one can cure. It is outdated, it's something that science cannot handle. Psychologists can't handle, science can't handle, relatives can't handle. When you allow your mind to develop, turn towards Shraddha, faith within you, and allow that faith to work with satsanga, with spiritual teachings, with your sadhana, then you discover that things that you are worried about, they are not being handled by your ego. How are they going to be handled? That's not your business. Creator God, He knows. When you are dreaming, how are you going to walk out of your dream? From God's point of view, it's a magic. You simply walk out of your dream. So therefore, having equanimity of mind, the more devoted you are to God, the more you are immersed in Godward thought, there is equanimity. To never view any situation as something completely discordant. It shouldn't have been. I've heard of Kali Yuga, but not like this. The general complaint from the masses, those who have studied some spiritual texts, that once upon a time things were Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga. We are gripped with intense Kali Yuga. So you are allowing your mind to be overpowered with that idea. What can we do? But what you need to understand, there was not a single yuga that made people live securely. Sita was kidnapped from a beautiful forest. In Krishna's time, there were lots of treachery and lots of things going on. So no matter which yoga you come in, whichever yuga you come in, there's no guarantee you are going to be in a good situation. It is not the yuga that is controlling you. Greater the equanimity of mind, greater is your rootedness in advanced, in higher level. There will be perpetual Satya Yuga. Vishayavini vartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. When one abstains from sense enjoyments, the objects turn away from him, but their taste continues to linger in his mind. But even this taste turns away from him when the Supreme Self is realized. It's talking about controlling yourself from objects of enjoyment. First level of control. You abstain from sense enjoyments. Abstaining means in your practical world, you try to disassociate, and you may succeed. Say, for example, if you lived in a serene atmosphere of an ashram, having lived 4 or 5 months, you feel as if you have controlled your anger. You have not been annoyed a single day. So that's called you have abstained from sense enjoyments. But the taste, the vasana, subtle impression exists in your mind. You have not cured it. The bug is still there. The vasana will be destroyed when you have attained realization of the self. So until you attain that perfect realization, perfect revelation, I am that, until then, all your control will be limited. They will be helpful to you towards that goal. But having developed certain degree of control, you should not become too satisfied, because the cause is still there. You are not deep down, you are not fully enfolded by God. Deep down, you are not fully contented. So therefore, anytime your mind will get distracted if situations change. And with this I'm going to conclude. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.